Abawashtid, Ishnis, Chagebid, Yahibide. That is to say good day and thank you for coming in the Stony Iska language of Samuel Bird's grandmother, Jerry Potts. Jerry, thank you for teaching me that. My name is Detective Jared Bueller. I'm the primary investigator assigned to the disappearance of Samuel Bird. Today marks 4 months since Samuel was last seen. As we mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, we pause to reflect on the legacy of residential schools and the enduring impacts of historical systems and that have disenfranchised Indigenous people, including the national tragedy of missing and murdered Indigenous people. As we continue the investigation into the disappearance of Samuel Bird, we recognize the profound grief Samuel's absence has caused to his family and Indigenous communities across Canada. Samuel's case is a powerful reminder of the inequities Indigenous peoples continue to face. We remain committed to seeking the truth with respect, care, and the urgency Samuel and all those still waiting for answers deserve. I would like to introduce and acknowledge the family of Samuel Bird who have joined us today. While our approaches to Samuel's disappearance, we have always shared a common mission, and that's to bring Samuel home. To my right are Jerry Potts, Samuel Bird's paternal grandmother, and Justin Bird, Samuel's father. To my left are Alana Bird, Samuel's mother, and Samuel's cookum. On June 1st, 2025, at approximately 8 p.m., Samuel Bird left his mother's residence in Kenora. This was the last time Samuel was seen or communicated with anyone in his family. At approximately 8:30 p.m., surveillance video captured Samuel walking through the grounds of Holy Cross School at 15120 104 Avenue. Samuel is then known to have attended the residence of a friend in the Kenora neighborhood, the location he was last seen. This residence is the same location a search warrant was executed on September 18, 2025. That search warrant was executed in relation to the disappearance of Samuel Bird. After an intensive 4-month police investigation, what occurred to Samuel in the hours after he left his mother's residence remain the subject of this investigation. I can now say, based on the totality of information, that there are reasonable grounds to believe Samuel is deceased and that his death is criminal in nature. In the past 4 months, Samuel's family, his community, and the community at large have undertaken what I believe to be an unprecedented effort by tirelessly searching the Edmonton River Valley and surrounding areas. The Edmonton Police Service and our investigative team recognizes and commends the efforts of both Alana Bird and the less publicized but equally persistent efforts of search teams led by Samuel's uncle Joey Bird and his father Justin Bird. I've remained in close contact with the Bird family, and it has been personally impactful to observe Samuel's family, guided by culture and faith, never lose hope that they will bring Samuel home. Prior to addressing our continuing investigation, Samuel's family would like to say a few words. We'll start with Lana, then Samuel's cookum will speak, followed by Grandma Jerry Potts and Justin Bird.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. Hi, thank you for being here today. Samuel's disappearance has shattered our lives in ways that cannot be measured. As Samuel's mother, I have carried this pain every single day since he went missing. I have prayed, I have hoped, I have leaned on my family, my community, and my ancestors for strength. No parent should ever have to go through this, and yet too many Indigenous families continue to face this same nightmare. I want people to remember Samuel not as a headline, not as a case file, but as a loved son, a brother, a cousin, and a friend. His laughter, his spirit, and his love are what define him, not the circumstances of his disappearance. Samuel always said, "I love you," and gave me a hug before he left anywhere. and I miss his humor tons. I will forever miss our talks. We stand here in the shadow of a much larger injustice, the ongoing crisis of our missing and murdered Indigenous children and youth. This is not just about Samuel. This is about the systems that continue to fail our families and a silence that too often surrounds our pain. I am calling on all leaders, matriarchs, elders, youth, and allies to continue to stand with us. We need your voices, your presence, and your prayers. Join us in searching and gathering and demanding justice, not only for Samuel, but for all of our children. I thank every single person who has stood beside us, cooked meals, searched the rivers and land, prayed with us, and lifted us up in big ways and small. Your love is holding us together in the darkest time of our life. For Samuel and for every Indigenous child who has been taken from us, we will not stop and we will not be silent. We will not rest until the truth is brought forward and our loved ones are brought home. In love, grief, and strength, Mother of Samuel Bird. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everybody that's in front of me here. I am very grateful and thankful that I'm allowed to say a few words here to people that are listening out there. Being a grandma, a kukum, to my grandson, his Cree name is Atsapi. The borrowed name is Samuel. I want him to be known as Atsabis when you guys talk about him, not his borrowed name. I stand in front of all you people, whoever's listening to me, that kinanas komt now. I thank you all, the people that are involved in this search, the people that are doing the work, even the people that are taking pictures of this old lady here. I thank you all for being here. You know, Achapi was my hero. I keep saying that. He was the most wonderful child a grandmother would ever have. I never saw bad things. I never heard bad things. I loved him so much. I want to tell the people out there that I want two things. Him to be discovered, proper closure for this young man. Whatever, wherever he is, maybe he doesn't want to be found. Maybe we'll find him. That I do not know that part. That's all I'll say for now. I want to say more, but blah, 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 blah. I might make a mistake. But thank you, Jared, for allowing me to say what I need to say. Thank you.
Abawastit, isn't she pawan misna habana, ninwahahina to skinny wa inne, metawzanya pizamne. I'm Jerry Potts. I'm Samuel's paternal grandmother. Just to speak a little bit about Samuel, his spiritual name, as Dora mentioned, was Achakapis, which translates to little boy on the moon. In my language, we call that Wichatuskin. Mogushin ahebe waheba getyu une. That's how we pronounce that word. My Sam I am, that's what I called him, had a gift when he came to this world. He had a beaming light and abundance of love. He was full of spirit, promise, and love. A child with dreams, laughter, and a soul rooted in the strength of our ancestors. My Sam I am was a cultural helper, learning about our cultural ways to serve his people when the time came. Losing a loved one to violence is a devastating, life-altering experience that leaves behind a void filled with pain, questions, and a deep sense of injustice. It is a kind of grief that does not just mourn the loss of a life. It mourns the way that life was taken. There are no words that can fully heal the wounds left behind by such tragedy. But honoring their memory through truth, justice, and love becomes a way to carry them forward. Grandson Samuel Bird's light, were refusing to let it be extinguished. He did not deserve to be taken from this world, and the cruelty of his absence does not erase. His life mattered. His future mattered. And even now in his death, he still matters. We want to say thank you to the Edmonton Police for the continued investigation to find justice for my grandson. To my sons Joey and Justin, Samuel's father, who along with the Paul First Nations Search and Rescue Team, I thank you. To my sister Gina, Ken Dion, and Cam Alexis, who have all been instrumental in supporting our family's search efforts, thank you. To all those who have joined Samuel's mother in her search for Samuel in the Edmonton River Valley, thank you. While Samuel may not be present, his beaming light and love continues to flow through the hearts of all these family, friends, and strangers who stepped up to help find him and bring him justice. They did not know my Sam I Am, but they knew that beaming light and love he carried. Our plea to those individuals with knowledge of what happened to Samuel, you know who you are. While we are left searching for answers for peace, for his body, you are left with something too. You are left with the truth of what occurred that cannot be silenced. You may try to run from, but the weight of taking Samuel from us will forever live in your quiet moments. We are pleading with you to allow Samuel to be returned to our family so we can lay him to rest according to our traditions, with love, with ceremony, and the songs of our ancestors. His soul cannot rest while his body is kept from the land and from his family. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hello, everyone. Let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Justin Peter Bird from Paul First Nation of Treaty 6. I am Samuel's dad, and I raised them from 2016 to September 2024. Initially, I did not want to be in the media, but know that I love and miss my son. I cry alone, and my heart breaks daily with the pain and memories of time with him. Samuel and I used to hang out in my living room before he went to bed, snacking, watching movies or TV shows, and now his spot sits empty. We used to play Xbox together, and now I could only read his messages to me, asking to play certain games. On car rides, certain songs break me down in tears because they remind me of my Sammy. Going anywhere in the city makes my heart hurt. I have so many memories of my son throughout the years. Samuel was a huge part of my life, and now there's a hole in my heart that will never be filled. I can't enjoy life anymore, and until we find him, we will never have closure. Finding Sam has always been the focus, which is why I haven't spoken publicly until now. My family and I will continue to look for Sam by foot, boat, and helicopter and any means available to us. And I thank everyone who has contributed to this effort. Please, anyone with information, come forward. We need to find him and get Sam justice. Thank you.
Police investigation of Samuel's disappearance was initiated on June 6, 2025, the same day Samuel was reported missing by his mother. Based on the initial findings, the file was escalated by Missing Persons Unit, and the file was assumed by their investigators. On June 15, 2025, the Missing Persons investigation received information of significant concern, which caused the investigation to be immediately transferred to Homicide Section on June 16, 2025. The investigation was thereafter continued by Homicide Section in ongoing collaboration with Missing Persons Unit. For the past 4 months, in addition to myself, 9 homicide detectives, along with the initial missing persons investigator, along with numerous other police and civilian members from support units within the EPS, have pursued every investigative avenue and countless leads to locate Samuel. There has been public scrutiny concerning the police investigation, particularly the timing of the release of information to the public. Investigations are not conducted in public, and for this we make no apology. As the primary investigator in this case, I'm responsible for the speed, flow, and direction of the investigation, and I can now advise the delay in release of information concerning Samuel's disappearance was strategic and was carefully considered by the homicide team. Investigative steps and evidence collected in the first 40 days of the investigation, prior to the matter becoming a focus of social media discussion, speculation, and contamination, have been critical to the case and will be critical to future potential prosecutions. Significant investigative resources have been committed to the investigation of Samuel Bird's disappearance. These have already included 3 police-led searches covering both land and water, utilizing specialized search and rescue personnel and both civilian and police canine resources. These searches, while not covert, have not been overtly publicized for investigative reasons. From the beginning of this investigation, our primary mission has been to locate and recover Samuel's remains. Every investigative decision has and will continue to be informed by that priority. Despite our efforts and the efforts of Samuel's family, Samuel has yet to be located. Today, with recognition that the winter is coming, we are releasing additional information based on evidence and intelligence obtained during the investigation. While not certain, we now believe the offender or offenders responsible for Samuel's disappearance disposed of Samuel's body no more than 150 kilometers of Edmonton, and that the disposal of his body occurred within hours of his disappearance on June 1st. We believe Samuel's body was disposed of on land, and that steps were taken by the offender or offenders to conceal Samuel's body in order to avoid detection. This map illustrates the area currently of greatest interest to the investigation, which represents several thousands of square kilometers. Research into offender behavior informs us that offenders are most likely to dispose of a body within 15 to 50 kilometers with a mean distance of 33 kilometers of the crime scene. These locations will be outside the sight line of residences, but still accessible in darkness and are typically within 50 to 100 feet of a roadway or trail, almost always downhill from the point of ingress from that roadway or trail. Where a body is concealed, it is most likely that local debris may be used to conceal the body in natural depressions. Alternatively, wells, culverts, and other features may be used to conceal a body. We are now appealing to the public, in particular to hunters, landowners, and outdoor enthusiasts, to be mindful of Samuel's disappearance. Please check your properties in the areas we have described west and southwest of Edmonton. The Edmonton Police Service remains fully committed to bringing Samuel Bird home. We will be relentless in our pursuit of identifying those individuals involved in his disappearance and holding those people accountable. In this regard, I appeal to those individuals who were directly or indirectly involved with Samuel's disappearance, who we know have information which could identify the location of his remains, to come forward. This investigation is progressing rapidly, and time is not unlimited to do the right thing. In conclusion, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the Bird family. From the beginning of this investigation, I asked you to have faith in our process. With little information and no immediate results, your trust in us throughout the course of this challenging investigation, which has yet to be concluded, is not taken for granted. You've been a source of great strength to us all. I will now take any questions.
Thank you for taking my question. I'm Sarah Comodino with Global News. I wanted to ask a bit about that public scrutiny and also what's been posted online. How has that played a role in this investigation, and how has that maybe interfered with some of the investigation?
I've been a homicide detective for almost 9 years, and the attention that this case has drawn on social media is unprecedented. It's astounding. The only regret I have with respect to timing of our information release is that we didn't wait longer. The investigation became much more difficult when information began to be posted publicly. I can say that there is a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of conjecture of theories based on nothing more than rumors. And it has cost us a significant amount of time that could have been otherwise spent investigating actual evidence. We've received literally hundreds of tips through both Crime Stoppers and through our police dispatch and 911. Many of those tips are simply recycling the same information that we've already seen over again, and it's been a challenge.
How long have you known now that this is a homicide investigation?
We've believed that, as has Samuel's family, for some time, that Samuel's been deceased. As I indicated, information released to the public is always strategic in order to advance the investigative objectives. I'm not going to get into the specific timing of that, but that is a belief that has been shared between the investigative team and Samuel's family for some time.
And is there any updates to the fire at the duplex?
We're well aware of the fire. It's clearly, you don't need to be a detective to understand how suspicious it is. We released a description of a vehicle to the media on Monday. We located that vehicle on Monday evening. We're working in close collaboration with the investigative response team detectives and who are also trained in our arson investigation to determine how that investigation is going to be handled moving forward and how it does relate to the Samuel Bird investigation.
Hi, Jana Pruden with the Globe and Mail. As you sort of alluded to, there's been a lot being shared online, including videos and photos that purport to show the assault and or murder of Samuel. Can you speak to specifically to that information that's going around?
Yeah. Those videos have created a major challenge to the investigation as well. As much as people have said there are videos, there are in fact very few videos of very poor quality. It's impossible to assess the timing of when those videos were taken, and in my opinion it's impossible to even conclude that the individual depicted or individuals depicted in those videos are in fact Samuel. I tend to believe they're not. And if they are, that it's not relevant to Samuel's disappearance and what we believe to be his death in this case. Unfortunately, there are troubled individuals out there who take some sort of perverse joy in trying to take credit to build up their own street credibility or online credibility by claiming knowledge or responsibility of this. To give you one example, we traced one of the primary sources of that information to a remote location in BC, a young man who had absolutely no presence in Edmonton and or association to Samuel Bird. But you can imagine that significant time and effort were eaten up to get to that point where we could eliminate those videos. So it's extremely unfortunate. Those individuals should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. They know who they are. The public knows who they are. And quite frankly, the current regulatory environment around social media right now makes our work next to impossible with respect to investigating posts on social media. We may as well be stopping the sun from rising.
So yesterday I was talking to some people who are, supporting the search, supporting the family. They have a very specific thing that they're very convinced happened. Very graphic description of exactly how he was killed.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you have any statement to people that have this very fixed idea in their head, which is, okay, this is exactly the manner he was killed, this is what happened, this is where his body was disposed? Because people are feeling very, very confident.
Yeah, I would get them to ask themselves, what is the source of their information? What is the actual source of that information? I know what the source of that information is. I know who the source of that information is. It is not a reliable source.
I have one more question and I'll let my
Absolutely.
In the release, it says that police now believe that Samuel's body was left on land. Obviously, there's been a very major search effort that has been focused primarily on the water. Have police recently determined this? Has that search sort of been in vain, or can you just speak to this land versus water?
Yeah. So I am the son of an evangelical Christian minister, and I fully understand belief through faith. The information that Samuel was in the water first arose through belief through faith in indigenous cultural traditions. And I don't diminish that because I understand it. That said, we cannot deploy police resources to information that comes from a source like that. I wish we had the resources to do it. Do I believe that the search has been in vain? No. I've seen the impact that the search has had on Alana personally, on her family, on their community, and the attention that it's brought to Samuel's disappearance. And, you know, it has created some obstacles investigatively, but I think in the long run, you know, if it was one or the other, I'll take this. No attention versus this attention. I prefer this. So I hope that answers that question.
So we feel quite confident.
I can't
it's on
eliminate that Samuel could be in the water. That's a possibility. I simply, the best information and intelligence that we have at this point is that he is not.
Hi, Johnny with the Edmonton Journal.
Please.
Knowing we were having a case conference here with the family, suddenly I see a whole bunch of Global Mail and you guys. Were you invited to come to the conference, case conference? You're interfering with what we want to hear. You guys are going to go write your reports, mislead other people as you write. I know how you reporters write. What you guys, I don't know if you were invited. I wasn't aware of that. I think I have a right to say what I need to say. You guys are saying, okay, what happened now? You tell us, and you go write out what you think you should write out. You guys stay quiet. This is our case conference, not you guys reporting what you're reporting. One more question. Because I know about search and recovery. 4 months later, no search and recovery. I read about other cases. There's search and recovery. There's helicopters. There's drones, police dogs. Here we have a camp set up by the river. People sleeping in the tent in a cold night, getting fed there. We look pitiful in comparison to other people that are treated properly here. I needed to say that because I watch, hear lots of things happening over there. I kind of, suddenly these reporters that are here, I didn't know I wasn't aware they were going to be here. And I wasn't aware that, okay, we'll ask questions, well, and then that leaves us out what we need to ask. So
you come by me for that. I invited them, okay?
I didn't know that.
Okay, I'm sorry you didn't know that. But I want to answer your question. Can I do
Answer my
that?
question.
So, because it's a good one, okay? You talked about the resources that are dedicated to searching, okay? And there's a very good example in the news right now, and that's the young boy that's missing in southern Alberta. Are you aware of that, Cookham? Okay.
Yes.
So that illustrates the problem we have in that case, that man, we know exactly where he went missing. They know exactly the place to start searching. And they've been searching there for over a week and have yet to find him. And it illustrates the challenges of searching an area like this, okay, which is several thousand square kilometers. We have no place to start to focus a search. And I talked to Alana and to Justin about a case that I've been involved in the past where we had a very specific area to search. And it took 3 searches with professional searchers over the course of 3 months before we found the deceased person in that case. So that is why, and I understand why you're not happy, but that's why we can't, is because we need a place to start.
I just need to share that information, what I If that part of it.
Yeah.
Because we have brown faces, you eliminate our concern of what we love that young man.
Mm-hmm.
We loved him. Any other parent, grandparent,
Yeah.
the way they love their children and grandchildren.
That's clear.
We are as important as the next person.
Yes, you are. Okay. But I invited these guys here, so I do have to let them ask a few more questions.
But I don't want them to ask
Yeah.
questions because I know what they'll go right. I read
Okay.
the paper.
Yeah. Just, we can talk later, okay? Is that okay? You and I?
No.
Okay. I will take another question if there's any.
I was just wondering if you could elaborate on June 15th. I think you said it was information of significant concern.
That's right.
Is that sort of what you'd already talked about with some of the stuff that has been posted online, or does that have to do with that? I think it led to it being.
No, actually, it's not.
Okay.
It's information that I can't discuss in this forum.
Okay. And are you able to elaborate on sort of how you narrowed down, to the extent that you have narrowed down the search area? How did you sort of come up with this perimeter here?
So I indicated it's based on what I would call evidence, but also intelligence that we've collected during the investigation. It's certainly not an exact science, okay? We're just trying to narrow the scope of future searches. I can't get into exactly what that evidence and intelligence is, unfortunately, but this is our best, I don't want to say guess, but conclusion right now as to where Samuel was most likely disposed of.
And you said that's several. Did you say several thousand?
Well, it's ballpark 150 kilometers out. I mean, this is a very rudimentary representation,
Right.
but if you kind of were to map it out, we're looking at probably several thousand square kilometers.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any suspects or anyone in custody?
No. I'm
And-
sorry, I'll rephrase that. There are suspects. Nobody is in custody.
How important is it to find Samuel's remains to further this investigation and to make arrests?
It is very difficult to, speaking theoretically now, to prosecute a homicide investigation without a body. It's not impossible. We've seen examples of that, the Travis Vader, the McCann case being one very good example of a case that was successfully prosecuted without a body. But it requires compelling information to support that charge, which is what we're working towards in this investigation, obviously. But in homicide investigation, we have what we call the golden triangle, and that's the body, the history, and the scene. And in this case, we're obviously missing the body, and at this point, we're still missing positive confirmation of a scene. So it makes it pretty difficult to investigate with one corner of that triangle.
Are there concerns that it doesn't go further for a long time? I mean, winter is coming. That could be quite difficult to search in these places. So just how dire is this?
Well, we've been alive to the winter since June 16th when we took over this investigation. I've been involved in investigations like this before that started in June and understood the pressure of time in that, and everything that we've done has been designed around the window that we have available to us right now. So I'm not sure that dire is the right word, but the timing of this media release is specific to the fact that it's October 1st. Realistically, in about 31 days, we're almost guaranteed to have some snow on the ground. But we do have some advantages, and that is the area indicated here is a popular area for hunting in the fall. So we will have boots on the ground out there naturally. I know that Justin's family has already been searching in that direction. So we want to bring it to the attention of the people who may, the more eyes we have on it, the better.
We're also getting quite choked up earlier talking about the relationship Samuel Bird's family has with police and how resilient and how they've been working. Can you elaborate more on just
How I feel?
their strength and how you feel?
Yeah. I have 3 sons. They're not much older, well, they're a little bit older than Samuel. And you don't go into this kind of work because you don't care. It's too hard. And I'm human. I feel the pressure. I read social media. And I told them before that they could have easily joined the bandwagon and thrown us under the bus, and they didn't. And we've provided them next to nothing, except my word that we're doing everything we can. And that's meaningful. That's faith and trust. And there's outside of his family, there's nobody that wants to find Samuel more than I do. I can guarantee that.
Hi, I just have a couple more questions. So the white van related to the arson was considered a vehicle of interest. I gather it's now been identified. Is it still being considered relevant or potentially relevant to the fire at this important location?
Yes, definitely.
And the second question, there is this, large population of people that want to help, as you've said, and that sometimes maybe that help is not that helpful and maybe even takes time and resources. I see lots of people, they find an item of clothing in the river valley and they want to turn it into the police. Do you have any direction on how people can help that's helpful? Because clearly people do want to help.
Yeah, it's a tough question. It's one we've been dealing with throughout the investigation. We recognize that, the devil is in the details in these investigations, and even something that it seems insignificant at the time can become significant later. We don't want to disregard anything. We have set up procedures with our communications section. If an item of perceived interest to the finder is located, that we will attend and we will seize it. We're not necessarily bringing it into the investigation immediately, but if it becomes relevant later. I think over time, I've seen the search teams mature in their approach to it. They're getting more experience. They understand the terrain they're covering, and our river valley is occupied by many people, unfortunately. So we don't want to discourage their efforts. We're dealing with it. We've got our systems in place now, and we're working with it.
One final question. I take your point about the delay in publicly releasing information. But of course, one aspect of publicly releasing information is that, Joe Farmer, who's sitting on his land, thinks, you know what, I did see a truck a couple days ago that was a place it shouldn't have been. Can you just speak to that? You've addressed that there are things gained maybe by doing it very quietly. Are there things that potentially were lost?
100%. That's the art of investigation. You give something away to gain something. You can't do everything all the time. We've had to make countless decisions like that in this investigation, like we do in any investigation. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Because you had mentioned that it's believed that Samuel was murdered, homicide, should the general public be concerned with the 14, 15-year-old children that there's a potential murderer out on the streets right now? What you said, there has to be a suspect that runs the Samuel, who's 14 years old. But maybe there should be a bit of concern to the public because a lot of youth are out there right now,
Yeah.
Maybe you can comment on that.
That's a good question. the fact is that in every unsolved murder, there is a murderer on the streets. And I've stood at this podium and talked about issues surrounding bail and bail reform. The case of Rukanisha Hundabatwara being one of them. We, at the point, speaking generally, again, though we arrest an individual for an offense, that person could potentially get bail and be back out on the street immediately. And as we discussed before coming out here today, you get one opportunity to lay a charge, and that starts the clock ticking in the court process. And so, especially in a homicide case, when you do make that decision to charge, you have to be prepared to move forward with your best case and one that you think the Crown can take forward. And their standard is a reasonable likelihood of conviction. That standard is very high. So again, it's a balance. It's give and take. When is the best time? That's case dependent in every case.